Was a cold and silent night. The clock had just passed midnight. A lonely road passed through a deep forest where almost no one dared to go at night. People in the nearby town had always warned travelers about this forest. They said strange things happened here after midnight. But many people never believed those stories. That night, a young man named Daniel was driving home after visiting a friend in a nearby town. His car suddenly stopped working in the middle of the road. Daniel tried to start the engine again, but nothing happened. The forest around him was completely dark. Tall trees surrounded the road, and a thick fog slowly began to cover the ground. Daniel looked around nervously. His phone had no signal, and the nearest town was miles away. He had no choice but to walk. As he started walking down the lonely road, the silence of the forest felt strange, almost unnatural. The only sound he could hear was the wind moving through the trees. After a few minutes, Daniel suddenly felt something strange. It felt like someone, or something, was watching him. He quickly turned around. But there was no one there. Just darkness, and the tall trees standing silently in the fog. Daniel shook his head and continued walking. But a few seconds later, he heard footsteps behind him. Slow, quiet footsteps. Step. 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 His heart began to beat faster. He turned around again, but once again, there was no one there. Now he was scared. The fog had become thicker, and the moonlight barely reached the ground. As Daniel kept walking, he suddenly noticed something between the trees. Two small red lights. They looked like glowing eyes. Daniel froze in fear. The red eyes slowly moved closer. His breathing became heavy. "Hello," he called out nervously. But there was no answer. Then suddenly, the eyes disappeared. For a moment, everything was silent again. Daniel sighed with relief and continued walking. But just a few steps later, something appeared right in front of him. A girl. She was standing in the middle of the road. She was wearing a long white dress that moved slowly with the wind. Her long black hair covered her entire face. Daniel stopped walking. "Are you okay?" he asked. The girl didn't answer. She just stood there, completely still. The wind became colder. Daniel slowly walked closer. "Do you need help?" he asked again. Slowly, very slowly, the girl began to move. Her head tilted slightly to one side. Then, she started lifting her face. Her hair slowly moved away from her eyes. And when Daniel finally saw her face, his blood ran cold. Her skin was pale, almost gray. Her eyes were completely black. And her mouth slowly formed a terrifying smile. Daniel tried to step back, but he couldn't move. The girl suddenly let out a horrible scream. The sound echoed through the entire forest. The trees shook as the cold wind rushed through them. And then, everything went dark. The next morning, Daniel's car was still found on that lonely road. But Daniel himself was never seen again. To this day, people say that if you travel through that forest after midnight, you might see a girl in a white dress standing in the fog. And if she lifts her face and looks at you, it will be the last thing you ever see. Fantasma.